Hey everybody, this video is from a stream that we did all the way back in May, breaking down the Hero 2 format and what you can expect from it. Pippa did such a fantastic job breaking down the format and what you can expect to see and what to prepare for and what you, as a newer player, can anticipate getting into it. It's a little bit outdated, as since then we've had the MHA decks and we have had the Tekken booster set come out. So there are some new tools for this format that I tried to edit in when I could. I think I really only did one. I think I talked about Journey of Redemption once. It's a little tag in here. But there are certainly new cards in this pool, but I think that this still does a very good job at breaking down the format. And it was so good that I needed it to be up there. I'm currently working through our backlog and trying to get important videos out, and this is one that I felt was very important to have its own video so that we could share it with people that are interested in the format. So please enjoy. And I hope that this is a good enough intro to Hero 2.
All right.
All right.
Pippa, we are good to go. Can we get a good enough introduction to Hero 2?
Yeah, of course. Welcome, Paul. Welcome, Jose. And welcome, chat, to a good enough introduction to Hero 2.
Woo!
Presented by me. So what is Hero 2? Hero 2 is an expanded format for universes. Where Standard has sets from the last 2 to 3 years, and Retro has sets dating back to 2011. Hero 2's legality begins with the My Hero Academia series that started releasing in 2021. This strikes a really nice middle ground of the format being more powerful than Standard, having more things to do, but being easier to get into than Retro. You can actually still find a lot of these Hero 2 cards pretty easily. Compared to some retro cards which are just unobtainium. And not only that, but the format has two very notable differences that give it a unique identity compared to the other primary UVS formats being Standard and Retro. I do also want to put a disclaimer that the format is super wide. There are lots of cool options, cool technology. I'll be going over the biggest things to keep in mind, but it won't be comprehensive. And double disclaimer, My Hero Academia Set 1 is the most impactful set added to the format when coming over from Standard. So if you ever get like a free afternoon and just want to browse those cards, that'll help immensely with your journey getting into this format.
If you want to have a heart attack, just look at the zero divs from MHA Set 1, actually. Yeah. So for example, if I wanted to get Queen of the Monsters, that would cost me 20 of my dollars. If I wanted to get the original Queen of the Monsters, Twisting Azure Inferno, that's like a 50-cent card.
That's true.
And banned.
And banned.
Well, that makes me sad. Maybe this format sucks, guys.
Speaking of zero diffs, though, Jose.
What?
Hero 2 versus Standard, let there be zeros!
Whoa, there's so many!
The biggest difference between the Hero 2 format and the Standard format are the amount of zero diffs available and the actual power level of these zero diffs. There are in My Hero Set 1 and then throughout the MHA series, the power zero diffs was pretty dang high. Mm-hmm. So this allowed decks to always have options to run them and fill out their difficulty curve. And in practice, what that means is that builds are much more consistent. Instead of building 3 guaranteed and then maybe a 4th, maybe a 5th, you're usually building 4 guaranteed because of the 0 at the end, and then maybe a 5th and sometimes 6th, right?
I forgot how good requesting was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that card's
So, games in Hero 2 will be much more consistent and faster paced than in Standard just because of the consistency offered from the builds. There are also a few decks that aim to abuse the number of zero diffs in the format, primarily on the Chaos symbol, where sometimes you can just run like 16 zeros and build your entire hand every single game.
Yeah.
I also want to note, as a knock-on effect of there being so many good zeros in the format, the power of stun is actually kind of decreased within this format compared to Standard. Because not only are there a lot of zeros, meaning builds are more consistent, but a lot of the good zeros are stun hate. So it makes stun just as a strategy a little bit worse in this format, but it's still viable, but it is something you got to keep in mind.
Yeah, everybody remembers what it was like to look at a board with both it can't be fixed and keeping Ares safe, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's legitimately, if you press that button, what are you doing? Like, what are we doing here?
It just feels so bad. It's like, I gave you +1 foundation, and you just used a once per turn effect? What?
That makes sense. The biggest difference is that it's the reusable zeros, right, Pippa? Like that's really the biggest thing about these zeros. Not only are they good, but they are reusable. Release, you have it forever. Tight-lipped, you have it forever. So remember the final Flying Around My Babies, basic training. These are cards that don't flip. You just get to have them for the entire game almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the big difference between Hero 2 and Standard. But what about Retro? Well, in Retro, cancels be gone. Get them out of here for Hero 2. One of the staples of Retro are the omnipresent actions that cancel or interact with virtually everything in the format. You have stuff like Toguro Bros, Revoke, Out of Your League, just all sorts of crazy actions that you can play from your hand and always have to play around. And none of those really exist in Hero 2. The closest thing we have is Evil versus Good, a albeit niche action from set 3, which was a promo that just lets you cancel a non-character responsibility. Other than that, all of the interaction within the format is actually board-based. This creates a very interesting dynamic in terms of how you play around and plan around different pieces of interaction your opponent might have, because everything is face up in this format. If your opponent has a cancel, 90% of the time you know what it is, right? So this creates a really interesting dynamic and tension within the game, especially because you have to wait a turn to use any of your cancels on offense because you have to build them in. Because let's say you have a Bachelor arrives, you have to build it, wait till end of turn, build it down, your opponent gets a turn, and then you get a turn before you can fully unlock Bachelor arrives on your offense. Compared to Retro, where you can Toguro Bros on offense, you can Revoke on offense, and these abilities to just tear apart defensive boards don't exist as readily within this format. And I also want to note that these cards, these cancels in the format, they are still powerful. Like, Bachelor Arrives is crazy. We get Dark Ward, we get Ichigaki, Incredible Display, Night Watch. All of these are super powerful cancels, but they're gated by having to be built first.
Yeah.
Unless you're epic, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think
and next we have a format identity, which is that keyword traits matter. This is something that doesn't exist a ton in the current standard format. It's kind of been phased out over the last few years, but the My Hero sets added a ton of keyword-centric synergy cards, and they often form archetypes. So just keep this in mind when building your deck. Be on the lookout for punches, charges, kicks, weapon, ranged, and fury attacks especially. Those 6 keywords got the most support out of all of the My Hero sets. And there's some really cool things you can do with them. The punch package specifically is one of the best offensive packages within the format.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I also want to know that there are certain hate cards that are pretty viable because of this. We have Arrogant Disposition, which is just a 1-diff 6 check with a good off-zone block that says commit this punch attack gets -3 speed. That is a legitimate card you can run. It just hoses some decks out of the format, and when you're not in that matchup, it's still a 1/6 with a 2 low block, which is pretty good. Bonds of Friendship is another example. It's a 1/6 foundation that says flip this fury attack gets -3 speed, and it has a 1 high block. For a long time, this card was just ran for its stats, and it just incidentally hosed fury decks. So this is, yeah.
Yeah, Buns is damage, but yeah.
Yeah. So be on the lookout for keyword traits. And now, as Jose mentioned earlier, another identity of this format are the value foundations. Over the last few years, design has shifted a lot more to single-use foundations and single-use tricks, whereas this format in Hero 2 introduces a lot of good, long-lasting, value-oriented cards, right? They can form the backbone of like your offense or your defense or even your card advantage engine. And so permanent answers to these, such as flipping or destroying these cards, are really highly sought after in this format to be able to answer these engine pieces within a longer game, right?
Yeah.
Like between prone to dry eyes and carbo loading, you can solve your deck's damage problem. Rescue completed plus release just solves any air or life deck's defense. And then Excited for Blood is one of the best like repeatable draw engines in the format. And then we have Small and Limber and Refreshing Slice, which just help keep your board ready to help you pass your strings.
Bro,
So-
I straight up did not remember what the response on Prone to Dry Eyes was. I do. I read this and was like, has that been on the card the whole time? Are
Yeah.
you sure?
It's just
Yeah.
Am I being Truman Showed? What the fuck?
it's just like you just gotta forget about it until it matters, and then you're like, oh, this is like the best stun hate of all time. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I think this is such an important factor of the format, because all of these cards, even when they were around, were like really potent for that reason. Like you said, Rescue Completed and Release like solve defense for those decks. Like that was the defense for those symbols. Like people would just run 4x or even 2x of those cards and they go, cool, my defensive package is done. I can just do
there are a lot
whatever
of
else."
decks whose entire offense was just Prone to Dry Eyes, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
There were void decks.
my-
There were void decks that could not function without Prone to Dry
They could not
Eyes.
function without it. My only complaint about the slide is that Pippa neglected my goat, Brute Strength.
Yeah, Brute Strength, dude.
true.
Brute Strength is
My
huge.
my king.
Like, and that's another one. Like, there were decks that could not function without Brute Strength, and I think now these cards, with the access the symbols have now, like, not only will they be able to function, but they'll be able to thrive at a higher level, and I think that that's really
Refreshing
awesome.
Slides, importantly, struggled to function because there just wasn't enough momentum printing available for you to really make use of it. But
Yeah.
now I think you can.
Yeah, 100%. When Refreshing Slice got printed, I was just jamming it in decks. Because in my mind, I was like, this card's insane. Like, it's so good. But at the time, momentum was so much harder. And now we have so much snap momentum. We even have tension. Like, this card's so potent.
Because it's power split. It's a retro Reaper. People are really excited about Refreshing Slides because it's like they remembered how strong power split was, but getting the momentum was just so difficult.
Yeah.
100%. And don't even get me started
Moving
on
on.
small. Don't even get me started on Small and Limber.
Oh wait, the Hitlers are here.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yep. And one of the last things I wanted to touch on in terms of identities is the stage interaction, both ways to interact with the stage as well as interaction coming from the stage. I wanted to point out specifically these three cards: Electric Jolt, Vast Hybrid Chimera Kraken, and Season the Advantage. These are the three most common interaction pieces you will see within the format in terms of answering the opponent's stage. Electric Jolt just being a on-demand commit. Vast Hybrid Chimera Kraken is a great lead-in for your string. And Seizing the Advantage is one of the few targeted flip tools within the format. So keep all of these in mind when figuring out how you're going to play around them within the format.
Notably as well, all on the air symbol.
All on the air symbol. That is correct. I also wanted to mention that for a long time within the My Hero format, the going rate for a foundation that nullifies an attack is 1 momentum cost. So we have like Cheerleader, Condescending Explanation, Broken Psyche, and we have a bunch more of these other foundations that let you trade a momentum to negate an attack in some form or fashion. Obviously that has changed. We with the newer sets we have like Cape of No Return, which is just an asset, which is another cost. We have Genkai's, which is 3 foundations. But for a lot of these defensive tricks, it is 1 momentum to quote unquote negate 1 attack.
Yeah.
Man, it's crazy what the air symbol could have gotten up to if they could just like draw a card ever.
Yeah,
back in the day. Like if they could just like draw a card once, they could have done so much bullshit. But they legitimately could not. They could physically not do that.
Well, it's really funny because you look at the symbol spread, and I was like, notably all in the air symbol. Another one of the big symbols was Chaos, and the decks that really like
Chaos could draw a card. Chaos would draw a card for free.
Yes, the cards that really got value out of these cards, or the decks that really got value out of these cards for a while were Chaos. But I think again now in the current format, I think pretty much all these symbols have viability in Hero 2 to some extent. But yeah, I think it's like if you're playing against these symbols, you have to be aware that these exist and they can just ruin your day. Seizing in particular, I remember we had a long debate at locals one time over the power level of this card, which was really funny. But the big thing with this card is that if you cancel it the first time, they're just going to do it again. And so it's like there was no reason to ever cancel seizing because it's like you're gonna flip it eventually.
It's gonna happen. It was that's not true. If you have a breaker block in your hand, it was really worth it to be like, okay, play that move.
That's true.
Progressive with +2.
That's true.
It was like
make
my day, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But also, Paul, have you ever been a block seizing Kakosha before?
No, that sounds evil.
That's pretty funny.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, have you?
Wow.
It's a little mean. Honestly.
That's a little mean.
Next, we're getting on to some of the actual decks of the format. We have these aggressive Andes. Hero 2 is a very aggro-slanted format. Just giving that heads up right now. So there are some very powerful and potentially oppressive aggro decks, and you have to be prepared for them. This is partially due to a lot of really good attacks in the format, as well as just these potent engine characters. And then you also have to be aware that some of them are string long, and some of them are big move, and some of them string long with big move. So you just got to be aware of them. I have a spread of characters, 2 from each hand size. We have Mikasa, the AOT 3 Mikasa, that just draws through her entire deck. We saw it's basically the Mikasa that was feared going into this year's Worlds, where you get like Dual Needle Lunge and Anchor Toss and all these cards that clear themselves. We have Nomu, which is just kind of like big move guy. All of his moves are for 10 plus damage, and so he will just kill you if you don't block. We have Mina Ashido. She's a string long character that burns you the longer her string goes, basically. We have Bakugo, who just plays a lot of moves, and if you block him, he doesn't play on progressive. We have Asui, who again just effectively plays on +1 progressive for her entire turn and just tries to sling a million moves at you. And then we have Tokoyami, which is kind of a mix. His strings aren't as long as like Asui's or Bakugo's or Mikasa's, but they're still pretty long. The big thing is that all of his moves are gigantic, and they will just kill you. So he's somewhere between like a Nomu and an Asui in terms of like what he does within a turn.
Yeah, 100%.
Is Stronger in Darkness still banned?
Stronger in Darkness is still banned.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing.
Keep it that way.
Yeah. I think one of the other notable things that I always point out with a few of these guys, with Bakugo specifically, Bakugo has the 3 best AOT symbols for carpool clearing aggression. He's got air, death, and fire, so he gets all the best like cards from those sets that just clear themselves naturally. You get air and fire for the lethal slash, which is notably a fury, so you can clear it without spending the responsibility. You get the Fortif Mikasa Anchor Toss. You get Anchor Toss, and then on death you also
which is not great, but
just not great, but it's like it's an option you can do. And then you still get Dual Needle. So you get a lot of these cards that just cleared themselves naturally, that are newer ones that he maybe didn't have access to back in the day, and I think that's cool.
And of course, you get Destructive Heat Ray, which is a Fury. You get Jaw Titan's Bite.
Yep.
You get Jaw Titan's Bite for 6 attacks. Hand size become attack.
Yeah,
right?
that's insane.
You get Jaw Titan's Bite. I think is Haymaker. Haymaker's not a Fury, actually. No.
No.
You don't want to clear that one. You wanted to say you don't want to clear that one.
Yeah.
You used to get sweeping daggers. Rest in peace.
No. Rest in piss.
No.
With that, I wanted to get on to one more format identity, which is massive moves. Hero 2 just has a lot of big fuck you die moves that require fairly relatively little input. Decks will often have a few big bombs, and the big ones will kill you, so just be prepared for them. I have a selection. The most common ones you'll run into will be Texas Smash. That's a staple of the punch decks, as well as Indiscriminate Shock, 1,300,000 volts. And the rest of these will see smatterings of play, but those are the two big ones you need to keep in mind.
I forgot about Blast Rush Turbo.
Blast Rush Turbo just
what a real
you.
one. Yeah, what a real one. It also gets like giga speed. It gets 1/3 on its own. Yeah.
So just something to keep in mind. If you are struggling to kill people in this format, look into some of these big moves. They will help you.
That is this is a really good point in the sense of like it helps a lot of the newer characters that struggle with stats to have access to these big moves that they can just use to close out a game if they need to. So if you're really interested in a newer character or a newer deck that maybe doesn't have quite a good finisher attached to them, a lot of these older moves are just generically solid ways to be like, hey, this kills people. And I think it's funny because really
I don't usually think of Naval Laser Beam as a big move, but I guess it is a 5-8. Yeah, I usually think of it as a big enough opener breaker 2 that unflips your stuff, right? But it is sizable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. With that, we're going to move on to mid-range Marvins. So these are decks that have potential to kill you on turn 2, but are more likely aiming to kill you on turns 3 and 4. Their goal is simply to slam a string of very large moves every single turn until you die. I do want to point out that a lot of these strings from these characters are more resilient than the aggro decks, but often require more setup. For example, Midnight, she adds +1 difficulty, quote unquote, to all of your attacks because you have to commit foundations for the speed. Overhaul needs to set up his stage. Jiro usually needs momentum for her huge pop-off turns. And Sato usually relies on finding like 1 or 2 of the really important ones in order to like really push through a big turn. Mm-hmm. So keep these in mind. These are some of the stronger contenders. I also got to shout out Midnight is the deck that won Kevin Broberg Worlds back in 2022.
3?
2?
I think it was
2 or 3.
It was for the 2022
in 3-4-2.
So it was the 2022 season, but it was beginning of 2023, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And it was Pippa's deck.
Yeah. Midnight is really cool.
I don't know how to feel about calling Jiro a mid-range Marvin, but I know you are correct. But in my heart, that sounds wrong. But I know that you're right. But that sounds like a lie. But I get it.
I do have a point about Jiro later in this PowerPoint. But for now, we're putting her in the mid-range category. To me, she doesn't often turn to you.
Yeah, for me, Overhaul is more of a true mid-range, just slop up with you kind of guy, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. With that, we have the slow decks. There are some very powerful slow decks within this format. You have both DR and speed control as both valid play styles. And then you also have some weirdo characters that function as slow control decks.
Which Kurogiri is this?
This is Kurogiri 1, the base one.
Yeah, I love
the good one. The cool one. Yeah.
Yeah. So just from these characters, you have Biolante, which just DRs everything. Recovery Girl heals everything. Mineta is like a stage terrorism kind of block you out kind of deck. Eraserhead will just block everything. And then Shoto Todoroki 1 has a on-face cancel, so he gets to cancel your best ability every turn, which can be very obnoxious playing into. He also scales very well. And then we have Kurogiri, who replaces your best attack every turn with the worst one every turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some real bangers on here. I think Shoto 1, very underrated even during his time, but he was always just like one of those generically solid guys that could get the job done. Kurogiri 1, super underrated, but again, like, just awesome control deck. That's one of the coolest characters ever made. Props to the old design team for that one.
Dude, his enhanced is so giga brain. Dude,
It's so
his
cool,
enhanced
dude.
is so cool. Especially with his foundation, his fucking foundation, dude. You get to do magic tricks with that.
I really love I love the tools that he has now. I brought it up last week, I think, but he gets Immense Showdown now. He gets does he get does he get J-Maker?
He does get J-Maker.
He does have J-Maker.
So he has a lot of tools to stack the bottom of his deck and just slowly sculpt the perfect hand, and I think that's so neat. Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the last format identity I wanted to mention is Deadlock Enhance Win. One of the defining characteristics of this format is that there are a lot of just really good incidental deadlocks on a lot of very playable cards. So one of the defining things about this format in terms of playing a longer game is being able to dance around 10 foundations, make sure the opponent doesn't get too much deadlock value, and being able to pressure your opponent into potentially going into deadlock or finding ways out of it. There are just a plethora of very good deadlock cards within the format, so it is something you have to keep in mind.
Yeah, I think it's very notable on that same note. Like, you said a lot of them are playable as well. Like, these cards, like you kind of already said it, but these cards would just be casually in decks, and then you would just accidentally be like, oh, I guess I win the game. Like, Ice Storm was one of the biggest contenders of that, I feel, where, like, Chaos decks would just have Ice Storm in as a solid defensive piece that they would sometimes use to end games. And then if you went into Deadlock, it's like, oh yeah, and you can't touch the speed, so deal with it. And
the thing about Ice Storm also is that if you play it as your last move, it is unblockable because you are holding attacks.
Yes,
it's a 4/4 powerful 3 unblockable move.
Yep.
At the end of a string normally.
Yeah.
And if you deadlock, it is actually unblockable.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people, when bringing up this format, I hear people all the time, like, when they go Hero 2, the first thing that I hear out of people's mouths a lot of the time is, oh, I can play with Ice Storm again? Sick. It's just one of those beloved cards that is also just Deadlock kill you.
Shoutouts to Brand Tail, one of the original Momentum Hate cards that people would just have.
Yeah. I missed that one.
With that, I just wanted to briefly at the end talk about some notable characters and some notable non-characters. So in this slide, I'm just going to briefly go over all of these characters and just tell you what they do. Starting off with the 5-handers, we have Nick Reagan. The big thing is that he is gated by how many good enhances are in the format. And in this format, there are a lot of really good enhances. So he is like a premier 5-hand size aggro kill you guy. We have Scanlan Shortholt. He gets to notably run 4 evil versus good with the straight face, so he'll always have the response cancel, and then he gets Summon Dark Shadow and Dark Shadow Ruin to play out with his actions, and just do all sorts of fun stuff. We also have Fourth Kind, which is like an aggro-ish, mid-rangey type guy. His big thing is that if you're at 6 or more foundations, once per game he gets to stun for you. So you always have to keep that in mind, especially when building around building in the early turns, to make sure you don't accidentally go to 6 and then get owned.
And also, you can't block their first move.
You can't block the first move,
or you die.
Next, we have for 5-handers Ochako 2. She's another premier 5-hand size aggro character. She gives all her moves speed, and if one of her moves connects, she gets to basically replay it for free. So she almost gives like echo to your move that hits. So she can just blow people up very, very easily.
Notably as well, if you are concerned about losing to Tim Keefe in this format, just play Ochako 2. You will never lose to him.
Or Nate.
Or Nate, yeah. They can never beat that character.
Moving on to the 6-handers, we have Ryukyu. There are a lot of very good momentum outlets in this format, and then she can always just do the kill you plan. Miro Togata is another like aggro type character. Notably, he gets to use all of the good punches within the format, as well as just being very popular. If you go to a Hero 2 event and David Toombs is there, he's probably playing Mirio.
People love this guy, yeah.
People love Mirio, so something to just keep in the back of your head. Toga 4 notably gets access to so many characters in this format. She is probably the highest ceiling deck in the format, but the big thing is that she is very inconsistent. But sometimes you'll get those turns where you rando Spirit Gun, remove 2 Nomus, and everything has plus 1,000,000 damage. Last on the 6-handers, yeah, we have Koji Koda. This guy just doesn't play on progressive difficulty, and he draws 1,000,000 cards. He uses Tasty Riff and Hunter's Ally incredibly well, and he is just kind of like a off-brand. He's like a off-meta 6-hand size, kind of aggro, kind of mid-rangey, draw a lot of cards, play a lot of moves guy. Moving on to the 7-handers, I also have to shout out Mina 1. This character has some cheese associated with her. Her response is that after she checks a card, she can play it as her next form without checking. So you run her with a lot of the big Attack on Titan attacks. You check a 4, and then you play a gigantic like 8/8 as your next move for free, and she cheeses out wins like
Colossus' Thermal Blast. Me when I check Colossus' Thermal Blast.
I believe that actually got banned because of Mina. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that one banned in this format, or is that legal?
Only in retro.
Interesting. Never mind. I thought that was banned here.
Yeah.
Then yeah.
I think Thermal Blast is not allowed in Hero 2. No.
I do not know specifically.
But it's not because of Mina. I think it's because of both Mina and also Recovery Eagle getting a throw.
Oh sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Next for 7-handers we have Denki Kaminari. He has response once per game after your charge attack deals damage. Take an extra turn. So he'll usually build for 2 turns and then blow you out with some gigantic, massive string. Take an extra turn, do it again. And so he's someone who is not super popular, but is a lot of fun and someone you should be aware of. Next we have Momo Yasurozu 2.
Oh, that's the wrong Momo.
No, she's the good one, because she says, first form, build 1 massive mutant machine from your hand, and gain 1 health. So she is one of the premier massive mutant machine abusers in the format, and that's it. She just builds the big one for free every turn.
Yeah, that's true. Momoto can do that too. It just takes a little bit more grease, but yeah. Yeah.
You mean yeah. Notably, Momo 1 is banned. Yeah, Momo 1 is banned, notably.
Oh, I forgot, Pippa. That's true. Yeah. Nate is not allowed to play this format.
Yes.
Yeah, I forgot. That's what it is. Okay, fair enough.
And then last character I wanted to make a special mention of is Ymir from Attack on Titan. This format has ready, get, set, go. It has a new training method. She's able to just build 1,000,000 foundations very quickly, transform very easily. She has a lot of tools to cut down her health, to heal it back up, and then just kill you. So this character gets a massive glow up with the tools introduced within this format, and is definitely one of like the premier like turn 3 aggro 7-handers. Lastly, I wanted to talk about some other really important non-character cards. Starting with some attacks, we have Freezer Burn. This card is just uninteractable. It says response, destroy a foundation. After your rival plays a non-character ability during this attack, cancel it. So if you're able to slap some stats on this one, it will just kill the rival, and there's nothing they can do about it.
That's a Ramsey card for some reason.
It also is a 3-diff. We have Command Pigeon Flock, which is Hunter's Ally before it was Hunter's Ally. Notably, it only builds an ally foundation, so you cannot use it to get Team Hero. But in combination with Hunter's Ally, it gives you basically 8 copies of it, allowing for a lot of really big consistency within ally package type decks.
IER, dude. IER.
Yeah, instant explosive release. You won't see this one too often, but this is one of the big high roll enablers within the format. It says if your first attack this turn dealt damage, it sends itself to momentum after it resolves. So you play something that hits, then go instant explosive release, send it to momentum, and now suddenly you'll have a momentum and -1 progressive difficulty on turn 2, and can do whatever you please. You won't see this card a ton, but it does enable some really premium shenanigans.
The really big honeypot you have to watch out for with instant explosive release is the air decks that play Electric Jolt. They're going to play Electric Jolt as their first move to guarantee that it hits, and then they're going to chain instant explosive release to pump him into momentum. That was a very classic 0-1 trick specifically. Just as a way to get her momentum early.
And then you would go the 2-check, attack, draw, stack, 2-check, stack, draw, kill you.
Yeah. So if you're playing against a air deck that's running Electric Jolt and they just play it on as their first attack, just be aware it might be a trap. Maybe you don't want that Electric Jolt to do.
You are not safe.
Yeah, maybe don't let that Electric Jolt deal damage if you have a way to stop it.
Yeah. Last attack I wanted to mention as well is Tasty Riff. This is a 2-check. Oh no, scary. But it is one of the best draw engines and consistency tools in the format. A lot of very good characters play this really well. So just something you got to keep in mind. Make sure you hold your high blocks for it, so your opponent just doesn't outvalue you. Moving on to some foundations, we have Lost in Thought. This is another premier interaction piece within the format. It says you add a foundation to your hand, you add a rival foundation to their hand, and then both players build 1 card from their hand face down. This helps you get rid of cards your opponent has in their stage that worry you. It helps you reuse pieces from your stage, and notably, if you build something down with Queen of the Monsters or Hardened Jab or any other stage building effect, you are able to loop those attacks back to hand with Lost in Thought and just use it to extend strings. Very, very powerful card. I already mentioned this as well, but new training method does exist in this format. After you build it, you build 1 from your hand committed, so it's 2 foundations in 1, and then after you check a foundation, you can commit and flip it to add that checked foundation to your hand. So it's acceleration, it is card advantage. This card is crazy and is usually a 4 of on every deck on its symbol. It's just one of the
nefarious card. A truly nefarious 2-diff,
Mm-hmm.
I also wanted to mention Irrefutable Force of Nature. Shout out Tin Keef. It just seals a rival Earth, Fire, or Water asset or foundation. Notably, Hero 2 introduces all of the My Hero sets, which are 3 symbol cards. So this hits a surprising number of cards just incidentally. In worst case scenario, you can always remove it to just seal anything on in your rival's board, which is just very powerful.
I forgot this said asset. I forgot this card was cracked like that.
This is one of those broken cards. For sure.
And then the last foundation I wanted to mention is Petty Squabble. This is a more niche card, but it has very potent effects. It just does a lot of things. Response, discard a card after your rival plays an ability on a foundation, commit 1 rival copy of that card. So it is committal interaction. Your opponent basically gets 1 activation of a foundation, and then you say, hey, tap that 1 down. You don't get that 1 for the rest of the turn. And then the low-key part of the card is enhance, commit your character. Both players discard 2 and draw 2. This is really good on characters that don't do anything on defense. So you're able to play out your whole hand on offense, go to your rival's turn, they try to attack you, you just commit your face and draw 2 cards since you have nothing to discard, basically giving you +2 hand size. This card also has some very funny loops with characters like Kamui Woods or Asui 3. Kamui mentioned, Woodman mentioned. Any characters that ready themselves allow you to reuse the Enhance on Petty Squabble since it is not once per turn, giving you a lot of really powerful filtering ability.
Mm-hmm. One of the most messed up things you can do with Petty is when your opponent's trying to kill you and they have only 2 cards left in hand, you can be like, those 2 attacks, they're gone. Find something else. Bye-bye.
Yup. It's so strong. The other notable thing about this in the extended format, again, I think I brought this up before, but Petty Squabble doesn't mean after you play an ability on a foundation in your stage, if you, like, discard a Bing Bong, and, like, you have a Bing Bong in your stage, you can play the ability on the Bing Bong, and then they go, actually, you commit all the ones in your stage as well. So, like, if you built 2 Loss of Consciousnesses and then you use an ability on Loss, they can go, actually, all your losses are now committed. So that's something to keep in mind as well. If you're playing a Bing Bong deck, or if you're going against one, and you want to tell them, hey man, don't do that.
Yeah. Lastly, we have some non-attack, non-foundations. We have Sports Festival Stadium. It is a terrain, and the big part of this card is response commit. After your rival blocks your attack, discard their block and draw 1 card. It's card advantage, and it gets around all the block tricks in the format. This is one of the good ones. This means you cannot breaker me when I kill you. It means you cannot showdown me. You cannot airy smiles me. This card just makes it very difficult for your rival to play around your offense.
It protects your throw from Page Shield, right? Like, it protects it from all the kind of nonsense.
Yeah. Notably, it is also buildable with Strategic Maneuver, the action from AOT1. It is a 2-diff asset. So that is pretty cool.
Speaking of 2-diff assets.
Speaking of 1-diff assets, we have Grenadier Bracers. This is just one of the ones that kills you. If you've destroyed a foundation, this enhanced step, this attack gets 1 damage, and commit, this attack gets 1 damage for each foundation you've destroyed this turn. This basically in decks that can enable it, say +1 damage to all your moves, and then like +5 on your last one.
I don't know anyone that's ever won anything with this card.
Definitely pretty good in Peak, right? It's pretty good in Irwin, for sure.
No, I don't know. Yeah. Jose, I don't know anyone that's ever done anything with this card.
Me either. They did ban Twisting Azure, though. The important thing is that he got Twisting Azure to 3.
They did. They killed the cool Death Eraser deck, for sure.
Now you just gotta kill them normal moves.
Yeah.
And lastly, I have 2 actions I want to talk about, and funnily enough, they have the same response window, which is after your rival plays their 4th foundation this turn, Cremation lets you add the top card of your deck to your momentum, and Ready, Get, Set, Go lets you build 2 foundations from your hand. Cremation is more niche, but it is the fastest momentum acceleration within the format, and because of the viability of 0 diffs, it is very frequent to be able to get this off turn 0, and Ready, Get, Set, Go is in a similar boat, especially against certain decks that want to build out to 1,000,000 like Ymir. Playing into Ready, Get, Set, Go will sometimes just lose you the game. So that's just true. Be aware of that, and don't get got.
Quick
most notably, Ready, Get, Set, Go on the air symbol is fine. Ready, Get, Set, Go on Earth and Life is you should be worried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick clarification point: isn't Cremation the 3rd foundation, and Ready, Get, Set, Go is the 4th? I know I'm.
You know what? Shut up, Paul.
I'm actuallying you, but I genuinely don't remember. I think that's how it is.
But no, it's 3rd. It's 3rd. Okay. It's 3rd. But also it's 3rd and non-attack. So there's when you build assets. The important thing about Cremation is Cremation says Space Godzilla found alive in Miami. This is his favorite card.
Oh man, Space Godzilla with Cremation is so cool. I love that. Hello, Jet. Jet has joined.
Hi.
Hello.
But yeah, that's it. That concludes the PowerPoint good enough introduction to Hero 2.
Yay!
Yay! Hell yeah! Thank you. Thank you for that awesome PowerPoint, Pippa. That was really wonderful.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I hope this can serve as a good resource for people wanting to try and get into this underexplored format and figure out what's good. I think it actually is pretty neat. I think it definitely is aggro slanted, but I think that the overall format, it has good vibes. It's also big nostalgia for everyone who started playing during this period.
I think most formats are aggro slanted when they're still kind of very open, because the most consistent thing that you can do is try to kill your opponent, right?
Yep.
So it's just going to be like that for a little while, but also, like Pippa said, the consistency of the zero diffs make it very easy to aggress, right? Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I just
want to clarify. I don't think the format is like dominated by aggro, but aggro is the easiest thing to land on when you're looking for something to do, and definitely aggro is strong here.
I'm very glad you said that, because I had a conversation with some people on Discord earlier today where we were talking about the format, and they were like, yeah, this is just turn 2 the format, and I'm not interested in that. And I was like, well, you haven't explored it enough if that's your opinion on it. I think that there's...
You can live so hard with some of these My Hero cards, guys. Like, you could be the livingest person of all time in some board states.
Yeah, 100%. There's just some decks that I feel like will just refuse to die. I feel like if you're playing Eraserhead at a high level, you're gonna be fine. If you're playing...
Again, if Stockfish could play UVS, it would play Eraserhead and have a 100% win rate.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and, I feel like Biolante might be egregiously defensive, truthfully, to the point where you will just turbo live with all the...
breakdancing.
Yeah, literally, just be breakdancing with how hard you live. I think there's a lot of strong control.
Oh shit, Bio gets creepy.
Yeah,
yep.
Bio gets creepy.
Yo, Bio gets creepy.
I feel like there's a Biolante deck that just never dies.
Wait a minute, wait, that's kind of awesome.
Yeah, this is the only thing I've kind of messed with.